Hello students, welcome back to your science class. So students, in the previous class in this chapter, that is acid, bases and salt, we were talking about some important compound and we had already studied sodium hydrogen carbonate and sodium carbonate. You see students, if we talk about the sodium carbonate, basically sodium carbonate is sodium hydrogen carbonate. So sodium hydrogen carbonate is a baking soda, and we have understood that how we can convert the baking soda into baking powder by adding the edible acid, which is tartaric acid, into it. And then we have understood the sodium carbonate, which is also called as a washing soda. And this washing soda, it is called as washing soda when it is having the 10 molecule of a water. Remember that it is basically sodium carbonate exists in a 3 form. So first form, it will be the anhydrous form where no molecule of a water is present in it. The second form, that only 1 molecule of water is present in it. And the third, which is having the 10 molecule of water present in it. So sodium monohydrate, sodium carbonate, decahydrate and sodium carbonate. These are the 3 different forms in which the sodium carbonate exists. Talking about the washing soda, which is the sodium carbonate decahydrate, it is basically formed when sodium hydrogen carbonate, it is heated strongly, then it releases sodium carbonate and through which carbon dioxide and water is also released. In the sodium carbonate, when we recrystallize it, students, then we get it will react with the water, 10 molecule of water, and finally it will form sodium carbonate decahydrate. So that one, in the first case we got the soda ash, but when we recrystallizes it with water, then we found the sodium carbonate decahydrate. Talking about the properties, students, of sodium carbonate, basically it is white crystalline compound, students, and it is a white crystalline compound, and this one, the sodium carbonate, is what it is used for laundry. It is used for laundry. It is used for cleaning purpose. It is used for washing. Used in the manufacture of soap. It is used in manufacture of glass. Okay, borax also used. It is used as a quantitative and qualitative analysis in laboratory. So these are what cleansing action. It helps in softening the hard water. So these are some of the uses and properties of the sodium carbonate, which is also called as a washing soda, students. Moving on, and we have started with the calcium oxychloride. Calcium oxychloride is what CaOCl2, which is also called as a bleaching powder. Basically, how calcium oxychloride is formed, students. So remember when we were preparing the sodium hydroxide. Actually, what we had done in order to prepare sodium hydroxide, we had taken the sodium chloride, which is the brine, and when we passes the electricity in a brine solution, that when NaCl, it is dissolved in water and electricity is passed through it, then it get dissociated, and finally there is a formation of a sodium hydroxide, chlorine gas and hydrogen gas is released through it. Now this chlorine gas, which is formed at anode, this will also be used in order to prepare the calcium oxychloride. So here the chlorine is used up, and it is passed through the calcium hydroxide solution, and finally there is a formation of a calcium oxychloride. Okay, so this is how the preparation of a calcium oxychloride happens. We were discussing some of the properties of the calcium oxychloride. Let me remind you that what are the different properties that we have studied till now. So properties, students, that it is yellowish white in color. When you look at the color, it is what it is, yellowish white in color, and obviously because of the presence of the chlorine, it is having a strong smell of chlorine. So let me write it again. The first thing, that is appearance. So it is yellowish white in color. It is yellowish white in color and having strong smell of chlorine. Strong smell of chlorine. Okay, so it is a yellowish white in color having a strong smell of chlorine, and this strong smell actually came from the from that of the bleaching powder because it consisting of a chlorine in it. The next one is it is soluble in cold water. It is soluble in cold water, yellowish white in color, and when you mix it in water, it can easily dissolve in the water, student. Another property, students, that when it react with the dilute acid, it used to release the chlorine gas. So either it is reacting with the hydrochloric acid or sulfuric acid, you will find that ultimately it will release the chlorine gas. So it reacts with dilute acids to produce chlorine. So reactive dilute acid to produce chlorine. Now here it will be like when CaOCl2, it will react with the hydrochloric acid HCl, then there will be formation of a CaCl2 plus H2O and Cl2. So Cl2 plus H2O is released. Water, it is, this one is a gas. This is in the form of a aqueous. This is also in the form of a aqueous, and this is also in the form of a solid. It is in the form of a solid. So this is what, student, this is the calcium oxychloride. This calcium oxychloride, when it reacts with the dilute acid, this is the dilute form. When it reacts with the dilute hydrochloric acid, then there is a formation of a calcium chloride. Chlorine gas is released and water is also formed along with it. Okay, so this is what, this is also another kind of a property which is shown by the bleaching powder. Let us see that what about the other acid, that is the same thing it will show with the other acids also. Absolutely, students, right now we have taken the example of a dilute hydrochloric acid. So what happened when it react with the dilute sulfuric acid? So, when this calcium oxychloride CaOCl2, it react with H2SO4, which is a aqueous form. This is the solid form. What happened? There is a formation of a calcium sulfate, okay, which is in the form of a solid. Then chlorine gas is released. And finally, water is also formed along with it, plus H2O, which is in the form of a liquid. So this is what, student, this is calcium sulfate. This is calcium oxychloride. Calcium oxychloride, it will react with the dilute sulfuric acid, and thus there is a formation of a calcium sulfate. Chlorine gas is released and water is formed along with it. This is what, student, this is how we can say that what happened when the bleaching powder, when the calcium oxychloride react with the dilute acid, then there is a formation, or we can say, okay, so in both the cases we have seen, student, that there is a release of a chlorine gas. Now let us see another property, students, and what happens when this is exposed to air. Okay, so when it is exposed to air, it loses chlorine. It loses chlorine when exposed to air. It means when this CaOCl2, which is in the solid form, it will expose to air. What happens, student? From the atmosphere, it will react with the carbon dioxide gas. Okay, when it is exposed to air, so you know that in atmosphere oxygen is present, even carbon dioxide present, all the different gases are present. So it will react with the carbon dioxide gas which is present in the atmosphere, and finally there is a formation of a CaCO3, calcium carbonate. That's why it is in the form of a solid, plus Cl2 is released along with it. Okay, this is in the form of a gas. Okay, so carbon dioxide which is taken from the air, when it will react with the calcium oxychloride which is now exposed to the air, then there is a formation of a calcium carbonate which is in the form of a solid, and there is released of a chlorine gas along with it. So this is what, these are some of the properties of the calcium oxychloride, student, in which we have understood that what will happen when it react with the different compounds, including when it is exposed to the air, reacting with the carbon dioxide, helping losing the chlorine gas, as well as the same thing happen when it will react with the dilute acid. It will react with the hydrochloric acid or sulfuric acid. Ultimately it will releases the chlorine gas. Okay, so these are some of the properties of the calcium oxychloride. Now let us see some of the uses of the calcium oxychloride, student. So, uses of calcium oxychloride. So, what is the first use? So, basically, it is used for bleaching cotton and linen. Bleaching purpose, okay? Bleaching cotton and linen in the textile industry. In the textile industry. Then it is also used for bleaching wood pulp. For bleaching wood pulp in paper industry. In paper industry. So it is used for bleaching cotton and linen in textile industry, as well as it is also used for bleaching the wood pulp in paper industry. Okay. So used for bleaching wood pulp in paper industry, as well as it is also used for bleaching washed clothes. Bleaching washed clothes in laundry. In laundry. Now it is used as an oxidizing agent, as an oxidizing agent in industries. Okay, it is used as an oxidizing agent in many chemical industries. In chemical industry, we can say. Okay, it is used as an oxidizing agent. And finally, this is also used as a disinfectant. As a disinfectant. So these are some of the uses of the calcium oxychloride. The first one is it is used in bleaching cotton and linen in the textile industry. It is also used for bleaching wood pulp in paper industry, as well as it is also used for bleaching washed clothes. So these are some of the uses of the bleaching powder, students. So first one, bleaching cotton and linen in the textile industries. For bleaching wood pulp in paper industry. It is also used for bleaching washed clothes in laundry, and as well as used as an oxidizing agent in chemical industry or used as a disinfectant. These are some of the uses of the calcium oxychloride. Now, before we go and try to understand the last compound, which is plaster of Paris, we should understand the meaning of the recrystallization of the salt. So, water of crystallization. So, water of crystallization, students. So, see. In case of a water of crystallization, you see that there are a lot of different salts which actually consisting of a water in it. And they are consisting of a water in it, and how we will come to know about it? When we heat it, it changes the color, and again when we add the water, it again come back to its original color in which it was already present in the salt. This is how we can say that the change in the color help us in telling that when we heat it, the water which is present get evaporated, due to which the change in color happens. So this is what, student, this is the water of crystallization. So we can write here that the water molecule that form part of the structure of a crystal. Here talking about the crystal is actually talking about the salt. Part of the structure of the crystal. Structure of the crystal are called water of crystallization. Are called water of crystallization. Water of crystallization. So water molecule that form part of the structure of the crystal, they are called as a water of crystallization. Now here we should know the meaning of the term, that is hydrated salt or anhydrous salt. So talking about the hydrated salt, the name itself says that it is what? Hydrated. It means consisting of a hydro, consisting of a water in it. So the salt consists of water in it is hydrated salt. and another one is anhydrous salts. Salt does not consist of water in it. So hydrated salt are those salt which consisting of a water on it or called hydrated, and anhydrous salt is that salt which do not consisting of a water in it. For example, student, there are a lot of example. Let me write here the name. That is CuSO4 dot 5H2, then FeSO4 dot 7H2, then Na2CO3 dot 10H2. Now you see here, students, we can say that CuSO4 consisting of water in it, so we will say that it is hydrated copper sulfate. Hydrated copper sulfate. This is what? This is hydrated ferrous sulfate. And this one is hydrated sodium carbonate. Hydrated sodium carbonate. So since all of them consisting of water, that's why they are hydrated. Although we use a name for it, it is what? It is copper sulfate. 5 is there, so pentahydrate. Ferrous sulfate, 7 is there, so heptahydrate. Sodium carbonate, 10 is there, so decahydrate. This is the actual name of the salt, although we can say it is hydrated because it consisting of water. Anhydrous, when all these water molecules are not present in it. When we heat it, it will become anhydrous. Now, taking an example of a copper sulfate, generally when you take copper sulfate salt, student, it is what? It is blue in color. But when you will heat it, at that time what happened? Let me write the reaction. When we heat this copper sulfate pentahydrate, after heating, this is this time blue in color, students. When you heat it, it will become CuSO4 plus 5H2O will be released, and this copper sulfate is what? It is white in color. We will call it as anhydrous copper sulfate. This is copper sulfate, hydrated copper sulfate, and this is anhydrous copper sulfate, which is white in color. When we heat it, it will turns its color white. Now again, when we add water in this copper sulfate, which is white in color, it will again come back to its original color, which is blue. So this is how we can say that how the hydrated salt will become anhydrous and how we can make it hydrated again. Now let us see here the last compound, student, and which is what? Which is the plaster of Paris. Plaster of Paris, POP. This is also called as POP. The chemical formula of a POP is calcium sulfate hemihydrate. Okay. So the chemical formula is CaSO4 dot half H2O. called as calcium sulfate hemihydrate. Calcium sulfate hemihydrate is the name of the plaster of Paris. Now how it is prepared? Basically it is prepared with the help of gypsum. What is the gypsum? Gypsum is calcium sulfate bihydrate. So it is prepared by gypsum. So CaSO4.H2O. This is what, student? This is gypsum. This gypsum on heating releases the, when we heat it, then it releases and form calcium sulfate hemihydrate, which is what? Which is POP, and 3/2 molecule of a H2O is released. This is how the formation of a calcium hemihydrate occur. Okay. So this is what? This is the preparation of the calcium sulfate hemihydrate. Okay. This reaction can also be written in the form of, when we multiply 2 to all the compound, students, what we will get? Suppose you will multiply here, it will become 2 CaSO4.2H2O, and on heating this will produces 2 CaSO4.H2O plus 3 H2O. This happens when we multiply this whole equation with the 2. Okay, but I hope you have understood that with the help of a gypsum, when we heat the gypsum, then plaster of Paris is formed here, as well as water is released. Now see here, what are the different properties of the plaster of Paris? When you look at the plaster of Paris, student, it is a white powder. Properties. It is a white powder. It is a white powder. Then it has a property of a settling. When water is added to the plaster of Paris, students, for 5 to 15 minutes, then what happened? It will get converted into gypsum. That is a very hard substance. That is why you have seen that in plaster of Paris is used. Okay. So again, what happened? Let me write this point. It is quite important. So it has a property of settling. It has a property of a setting into hard solid mass. Hard solid mass with the water. How, students? So calcium sulfate hemihydrate, this will, when water is added to it, so again this is in the form of a solid. When 3/2 molecule of a water is added into it, it will become CaSO4.2H2O, which is what? Which is the gypsum. So again the formation of a gypsum happened when we add a water in it. This is what? This is the plaster of Paris. These are what, student? These are some of the important properties of the plaster of Paris. When we add water in it, it will become a solid hard mass, and it is because of the formation of a gypsum. Now moving on, and let us see that what are the uses of the plaster of Paris. Lot of different uses are there of plaster of Paris. So let me write here the few points. It is basically used in the building industries. In the used in building industries. Also used for plasters, for plastering the fractures. Fractures of bones. It is used in making chalk. In making chalk. In ornamental work. In ornamental work, and also for making cast in statues. Cast of statues. Okay. So this is what these are some of the uses of the plaster of Paris.